So HBO recently dropped a Weasley family selfie, and honestly, they look absolutely spot on in my opinion, and I might have to do a full breakdown in a future video. And it's great timing too, because in this video, every single Weasley that was featured in this photo gets their chance to shine. We see Percy's rule-obsessed nature, Fred and George's hilarious taunting, Ginny's fear and paranoia about the diary, and Ron just being Ron, both hilarious and knowledgeable when it comes to the wizarding world. So let's jump into my vision for HBO's Harry Potter Season 2, Episode 6, The Secret Diary. The cold open for this episode follows a similar style to what we've had before when discussing magical creatures using pages from the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them book. This time we see an animated page of Mosty Potenty potions and the Polyjuice potion, with some incredible animations of the gruesome illustrations of people mid-transformation. The narrator gives us key information such as the ingredients, the fact that the potion wears off after an hour, and a stern instruction to never use an animal hair, as the potion is made purely for human transformations. After this, the title sequence rolls. Before we jump into this episode properly, please remember to hit the subscribe button, like the video, and hit the notification bell so you are kept up to date with this series and any other Harry Potter theories and breakdowns that I have coming up in the future. We open following Harry and Ron disguised as Crabbe and Goyle, awkwardly lumbering after Malfoy stepping into the Slytherin common room. This is our first real look at the Slytherin common room, and the production design needs to be on point. The common room is exactly as described in the books. A long, low, underground room with rough stone walls, greenish lamps hung from chains on the ceiling, casting eerie light over everything. As Malfoy sits down, he thrusts a newspaper clipping under Ron's nose. The clipping is a Daily Prophet article, which is all about Mr. Weasley and him being fined for the flying car, as well as a direct quote from Lucius Malfoy, where he calls for Mr. Weasley's resignation and mocks his love of muggles. Malfoy is incredibly smug and cruel, saying,
"Arthur Weasley loves muggles so much he should snap his wand in half and go and join them."
Then the scene shifts as Malfoy starts to speculate about the Chamber of Secrets. The tension builds and builds and builds before Malfoy says,
"I wish I knew who it is."
It's a total fake out, but Harry, thinking fast, prods him for more clues. The rest of the scene plays out exactly like the movie, honestly, with Malfoy revealing the chamber was opened 50 years ago, that someone died last time, and cruelly saying that this time he hopes it's Hermione. As Ron clenches Crabbe's gigantic fists, we then see his hair starting to turn red and his nose beginning to shorten. The Polyjuice potion is wearing off. What follows is a brilliantly chaotic, almost silent escape scene, again something similar to a Laurel and Hardy sketch. As they burst into the entrance hall, they hear the muffled banging of Crabbe and Goyle still locked in the broom cupboard. They take off their shoes and then sprint up to Moaning Myrtle's bathroom in their socks. After they gather themselves, they go to check on Hermione, but when they knock on the door, Moaning Myrtle glides out of the cubicle looking happier than they have ever seen her. She says,
"Oh, wait till you see. It's awful."
And the visual reveal here needs to be shocking and quite upsetting, I think, as the movies almost went for a comical approach. It was a cat hair that Hermione had pulled off Millicent Bulstrode's robes, and now she resembles a kind of half-human, half-cat. We then have a time jump. We'd see a montage of Hermione in the hospital wing, hidden behind curtains, and of course the moment where Ron finds a get well soon card from Lockhart under Hermione's pillow. The montage ends with Harry and Ron leaving the hospital wing one day before they suddenly hear an outcry of rage from upstairs. The camera follows them as they rapidly hurry up the stairs before they see Filch, absolutely hysterical, screaming about mopping all night as he is standing in a flooded corridor. Once Filch leaves to go and find Dumbledore, Harry and Ron wade through the corridor and into Moaning Myrtle's bathroom. She's crying harder than ever, and when Harry asks what's wrong, she says that somebody threw a book at her. Then Harry notices a small, shabby black book lying on the floor, but before he can pick it up, Ron stops him. Again, justice for Ron, who is a smart character, because he goes on to explain to Harry that you can't just trust things like books in the wizarding world. He goes on this amazing rant about how different books can burn your eyes out or make you speak in limericks forever. It's a great character moment for him, once again showing his knowledge of the wizarding world and also his caution. But Harry, being Harry, ducks around him, picks it up and opens it before reading the name T.M. Riddle. Now, in episode 3, I did say that I wanted the show to include what Ron's detention was for the flying car incident, and this is where it comes into play. This was actually filmed as a deleted scene for the movie, but essentially Ron recognizes the name as T.M. Riddle won a trophy for special services to the school. However, when Harry flicks through the pages, they are completely blank, but he still pockets it. Sequence 1 ends after Hermione has been released from the hospital wing, as the three of them are sat in the Gryffindor common room before Harry shows her the diary. And now this is Hermione's moment to shine. Ron has the information about Riddle, while she has the logic.
We know T.M. Riddle got an award for special services to the school 50 years ago. Well, what if Riddle got his special award for catching the heir of Slytherin?
We cut to black to end sequence 1. Sequence 2 of the episode starts with the trio walking downstairs for breakfast, and as they round a corner into the Great Hall, the three of them freeze. It's Valentine's Day. Lockhart has completely covered the Great Hall in decorations. Heart-shaped confetti falls from the ceiling, and he has hired a dozen surly dwarves dressed as cupids to deliver singing Valentines all day. Obviously, this scene was completely left out of the movie, but I really want the show to include it for a couple of reasons, really. Firstly, it provides much needed comic relief after the Polyjuice scene, and also the dark twist yet to come. And Valentine's Day also causes a major incident coming up that was also left out of the movie. We see some brief shots with a jaunty, comical soundtrack as the dwarves burst into classrooms to deliver their Valentines mid-class and kicking students on the shins as they pass them in the corridor. These scenes culminate in a corridor where a dwarf corners Harry, tackles him, rips his bag open, and delivers that Valentine.
His eyes are as green as a fresh pickled toad. His hair is as dark as a blackboard. I wish he was mine. He's really divine. The hero who conquered the Dark Lord.
It is incredibly cringeworthy and difficult to watch. In the chaos of laughter, the books, and the spilt ink, Malfoy swoops in to grab the diary, and we see a shot of Ginny looking terrified. Obviously, at this point, we think it's because of the song, but is it? Harry is enraged and does the only thing he can think of and disarms Malfoy. The book goes flying and Ron catches it, looking smug. Percy starts lecturing Harry about no magic in the corridors before Malfoy leaves with a cold word to Ginny, saying,
I don't think Potter liked your Valentine much.
We then cut to that evening with Harry heading up to his dormitory pretty early, mainly to avoid Fred and George, who keep singing that song. Just like in the movie, we then get the short scene of Harry having a written conversation with Riddle from the diary. Riddle says that he can show him information from 50 years ago about the Chamber of Secrets. Harry writes okay, and the diary becomes a portal. I do like what the Chamber of Secrets movie did with this moment, however, this is where I think the HBO show can get a little bit more creative. I want to see the diary's pages becoming a swirling, colourful vortex, the camera pulling Harry and us into the book, with practical effects making it all feel real and disorienting. The memory scene will be pretty much identical to the movie. The only real change is that it's with Professor Dippet that Riddle has his conversation about the school remaining open if the attacker is apprehended. Obviously, in the movie, he had this conversation with a young Dumbledore, but again, this is just a small change that will make the series feel a bit more unique, whilst also expanding the wizarding world. After his conversation with Dippet, Riddle heads down to the dungeons to find Hagrid, and we see Aragog's escape, and Riddle trying to pin the attacks on Hagrid. Harry is then thrown back onto his bed in the present, just as Ron walks in. Harry looks up at Ron and says,
"Hagrid opened the Chamber of Secrets 50 years ago."
We cut to black to end sequence 2. Sequence 3 opens with the trio sitting in the deserted common room as they discuss what Harry has just witnessed, and they decide to not confront Hagrid just yet as the attacks seem to have stopped. We then get our next Hogwarts changing motif, seeing the change from winter into spring as the leaves start to become green and the snow starts to melt. The montage should also include the shifting mood change at Hogwarts. Firstly, we see the Mandrakes having a raucous party in the greenhouses, and Ernie Macmillan politely passing Harry a bucket in herbology, and Peeves finally getting bored of his song. This breather also allows us to cover a classic Hogwarts milestone, choosing third-year subjects. I've included this for two reasons really. Firstly, it's essential world building, which makes Hogwarts feel like a real school. And secondly, it's a moment of normalcy, which makes the upcoming horror even more impactful. The cinematography should also be warm and bright, lulling the audience and the characters into a false sense of security. This all shatters when we cut to Harry entering his dormitory to find it ransacked. The camera follows Harry's gaze as it pans across the destruction before he says,
"Riddle's diary's gone."
We then cut to the next day for the Quidditch match between Gryffindor and Hufflepuff, and we'll see a pretty major contrast here. The sun is shining, Wood is euphoric, and the Great Hall is buzzing, but Harry is paranoid, scanning the Great Hall for the thief. Then, as they head outside, it happens again. Harry hears that sinister voice. But this time, Hermione's reaction is different.
"I think I've just understood something. I've got to go to the library."
Perplexed, Harry and Ron head down on their own to the Quidditch pitch, and we'll see some pretty quick shots of Harry pulling on his robes, sitting through Wood's team talk, and the team walking out onto the pitch. Then we see Professor McGonagall marching across the pitch with a megaphone in hand. The music completely cuts out and the excited crowd start to murmur. McGonagall says on the megaphone that the match has been cancelled before approaching Harry, and when she sees Ron coming across the pitch, she tells both of them to follow her. McGonagall leads them not to her office but to the hospital wing as she tells them there has been a double attack. The door opens as we see a Ravenclaw girl petrified, and then the camera slowly pans to the bed next to her. It's Hermione. The music drops out completely. We hold on Hermione's frozen, terrified face before we cut to black and the credits silently roll. And that's my plan for episode 6. The mystery intensifies more, and the danger becomes a lot more personal now that Hermione has been attacked. So what do you think? Does this balance of character moments and rising tension work? And how are you hoping that the show handles Tom Riddle's memory? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Once again, remember to hit the subscribe button, like the video, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on my vision for Harry Potter Season 2, Episode 7.